You're listening to the Breezy Moms podcast on Digital Stream Radio.
Hey everyone, you're listening to the Breezy Moms podcast, a weekly show that chronicles the adventures of motherhood. I'm Candace. Now let's start the show. Hey guys.
Hey. How are you, Miss Candace?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad.
Good. Well, I'm a little bit frazzled because we're running well behind, and I'm trying to bring it all the way. I'm trying to bring it all the way down, but I was also trying to deciding whether I was going to admit that we were running behind because most people listen to it as a recording. But to our people who are, but we should be honest and we should learn from our mistakes, which means on Thursday nights, Bube gets to do nothing, come straight home from work, do not turn left, do not pass go, come straight home, do not collect $200, just come straight home so that we don't get any distractions or any delays on the Breezy Moms podcast. Cause this is my time.
That's her zen, man. You hear that? All right. So I'm super excited. First of all, you have a guest coming on the show today.
Yes. Payal is going to be on with us later. She is a local mom friend that I met on the mom circuit. I don't know, almost a year now. And so she's going to be on a little bit later talking about, remember a couple weeks ago, I told you that sometimes you forget that parents, whether you have a surgery or you're in pain or you're sick or whatever, you still have to parent. I had her in mind when I was making that. I think I was talking about going to the museum and seeing people hopping around on crutches and scooters and stuff. And I had her in mind because she had an ACL surgery, repair, whatever surgery done.
Those are tough.
Those are really tough. And she had it done right around the time that she had her second son.
Oh, Lord.
So it's a lot to take in all at the same time, and so she'll be on a little bit later talking about how you sort of manage that kind of thing. I know,
because having a child, not one but two, and then
it's hard by itself.
You're in the midst of your second child,
right.
And then pain management with an ACL tear is really hard.
And mobility and all of that stuff, not being able to run after them.
I've seen athletes curled up in a ball, hurting.
Big ass athletes.
Yeah, so to see a mom do it and be able to handle it, that's going to be a very interesting conversation.
I know, that's what we have to do. So she'll be on in a little bit.
So
I'm super excited. Oh my god, on air you're going to do this?
I am going to do it.
Okay, so earlier I posted something about chicken,
right? And I said, well, whatever it is that you're doing, I want some, right? And then I'll taste it and I'll tell everyone how it tastes on air. So she did bring the chicken. I'm not going to taste it now because I'm not going to do that to her.
Oh, thank God.
I'll wait until, but I have the chicken. Just be forewarned. I will tell you next week how it tastes. I will be honest, because me and cooking, me and food, period.
I know, which is why I'm so embarrassed. But
it smells so good. I just opened the lid, right? She brought it in her little Tupperware, which I'm going to have to make sure she gets back, because you know how y'all people are with Tupperware.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited. I got my chicken.
To be honest, I have special Tupperware that's made just to give to people because it never comes back. So,
well, I'm responsible.
Okay, I appreciate it.
So this makes up for the half hour,
late. I know. You got to come with food. If you're going to be late, you better come. You better not come empty-handed.
Food, booze,
I know.
or cheese. Those are the three things that you can bring me, and I'm a happy boy.
Oh, and I didn't even think about booze. I always bring wine.
I have wine. I'll get you a glass.
No, but the point is that James usually brings me the wine to bring you. That's why I never know what it is. You're like, oh, what are we having tonight? And I'm always like, here, reading the thing at the same time. We're having rosé. As if I know, because I have no idea. Anyway, because I was running late, I pulled my car out so that I could because we parked tandem, so that I could just pull off and go. And the wine is probably in his car. Unless I'm going to judge him if he didn't buy me wine because he was busy being late. So anyway.
He in trouble.
I know.
All right. So let me ask you a question.
I'm listening.
How are your boys?
The boys are good. The boys are really good. And what I've been thinking about lately is, most weeks I'm like, oh, Lincoln is really great and Emory is super challenging and ignores me most of the time and I feel some way about it. Well, in the last week, it's like he noticed that I needed a little something and he's been blessing me with some attention this week. And I feel like the child because he said to me tonight, he goes, "Mommy, hug." It was
Oh.
just like unsolicited. I don't know what, I think I was in the kitchen making dinner or something. And I mean, he's a master manipulator is just
What did he
what I've
want?
come around. He wanted a hug. No, no, no. He just gave me a hug.
Oh.
And then he walked away. This is what I'm saying. You think it's like a give and take, right? Like you hide the hand you're going to sock me with later.
Did you
But
search the house?
I should. I
What
should.
did he do?
I know. Listen, don't ruin it for me, Tommy. Don't ruin it. I'm feeling good because my 2-year-old is blessing me with some attention.
I don't know. I think you're gonna find a dead fish under the
Oh
bed
my
somewhere.
God. Oh, I hope not. I hope not. But did you see the photo of him with no pants on and one slipper?
One slipper, yeah.
And that's because I took a few, I don't remember what I was doing. I think I was on the phone. I took a phone call for like 10 minutes. And I told them, I'm sitting in the kitchen. I just need a minute. Like, I've been here all day. I'll be here all night. Just give me a minute. I was actually talking to Carolyn. And so then, Lincoln, one of them, they start running around. And then here comes Emory through. And I was like, dude, where are your clothes? You had on clothes 10 minutes ago. He had pulled off his pants and off one shoe. And he was just running around in a onesie and one shoe. And it was just, it's so purposeful though, because he knows how to take off the other shoe. There's no lace. It didn't get stuck. He's just like, I like this one. I'm going to keep this one on. So anyway, he's just wild. That's the best way that I can describe him. And then Lincoln is doing really well. I mean, he's great. He's great, and he's great. I see that even though he gives us a bit of a difficult time, and mostly James, because I'm like the hard one. When he's not dealing with us, and I see him the way he manages other people, he's really great. You know what I mean? Like he's really helpful, and I've been listening to him stand up for himself because there's a kid in our program who's a couple years old, 2 years older than him. And so for the last several months, he's sort of been he's the alpha, right? He's the older kid. And so I've been listening to Lincoln say things like, but that's not how we do it at my house, or it's mine,
Ooh.
so I'm going to go first and then you can go this time. Or this time you did it yesterday, so I'm going to do it today. And I have this like little like mom proud tear moment going. I'm like, go Lincoln. Because I feel like his whole life is going to be like, oh, Lincoln's a gentle giant, and like people are going to try and push him around. I was like, at 4 years old, you have found your stride.
Well, no, listen. I mean,
I
he
think
may
it's
be a
important.
big boy, but we have to be reminded he's
Yeah.
only 4 years old, and
I
these
know.
things sort of kind of just happen.
I know.
I think that he's in a stage in where now more than ever, every day something new will surprise you, right? Because he's going to be assimilating things at a rate much faster
Right.
than you could have ever imagined, right? And so the sponges that they are, they come up with things, and you're just going to be like, whoa, where did that
come from? I can't remember when this happened, but I feel like it was recently. I like gasped at something, and he goes, Mom, what happened? I go, oh, someone got fired. And they were like, fired? What does that mean? And I said, oh, it's like, if you have a job, like, daddy goes to work. If they told him he couldn't come back, that would be, they fired him. And he looked at me and they were like, and he goes, they would make him dead? I was like, no.
This is not
No,
Game of Thrones.
it's not
Simmer
real.
down.
He's like, he did something wrong and now he's dead. I was like, no, that's not how it works. It's just a word that we use. It just means you can't go back to the place to do the work. And I just remember thinking, like, it seems like such a leap, but that's what those words mean. So
Yeah.
It was actually pretty clear. Clear. So he's doing really well, and you're right on the sort of the ed, I don't know if you call it ed side, but like the development side and communication and talking, like the conversations are much more involved.
Now, I remember that when we first started recording, which was 42 weeks
I
ago,
know.
or more. It's hard to believe that we're
That's
coming up on a
true.
year. When he was talking, he did have a slight disadvantage because he wasn't fully developed as he should be for his age. How's he doing with that?
Yeah, so it turns out that he is fine. Like is fully developed for his age. The problem is the perception that he's older. So there's a gap between what he looks like and what he looks like he should be able to do and what he can actually do. And what he can actually do is right where he's supposed to be, right? But because it's really hard to adjust that perception,
Mm-hmm.
it's so hard to adjust that perception that we know he's only 4, and it's still hard for us as parents to remember that when he is behaving like a 4-year-old. So like right now he's going through the 4-year-old tantrums, just like anything can trigger like full blown meltdown. And James and I look at each other like, did you see what happened? I don't know what happened. Like it just comes out of nowhere. So he's developmentally right exactly where he's supposed to be, within the range of where he's supposed to be. It's just that
You didn't see it that way at first.
yeah, I didn't see it that way at first. And like this is probably a longer conversation waiting to happen, but because I didn't see it that way first, I just kept looking for someone to affirm my miscalculation. You know what I mean? And you're just going to like keep searching until someone says, "Oh yeah, you're right. It does sound a little funny." And everywhere we went, everybody said he sounds within the realm of where he's supposed to be. And I think we've finally, James and I have decided that we think we've asked enough, people with degrees and doctors and experience, right? I think we've asked enough people and sort of put him through enough that we should like relax for a little while and do what we think is best in the house, talk the way we think, and help him as much as we can. But like I think about on the extreme side, you know, I've seen things where it's like some girl thought she had cancer because her mom made her think she had cancer, and there was nothing ever. I think it's a movie, some like crazy movie, but like you can force things on your kids that you didn't intend to, or you thought you were helping them at the beginning, and then all of a sudden it's more about you than it is about them. So I think that's a bigger conversation. It just felt, it kind of hit me a little bit just now saying that, but I think we're good. I think we're good and he's good, and we'll just keep an eye on it. Right?
I have been meaning to ask, you know, because it's been, like I said, we're week 42.
Mm-hmm.
Show's been doing well. You know, people have been receiving it well. The people that are listening, the people that are engaging you on social media, which, by the way, she is on Facebook at the Breezy Moms Podcast. Make sure that you guys go there, like the page.
Yes, please, and thank you.
Yeah, because she posts a lot of really good stuff, a lot of funny stuff. And, of course, you know, pictures of the kids and stuff, and all her nice little adventures are always posted, so... And I always like literally stalk her page, which is why I know about the fried chicken.
Right.
So you have a guest.
Yeah. So let's move right in. Let's jump right in with our guest, Payal. So Payal, like I said earlier, is a mom that I met almost a year now on the local mom circuit. You know, I told you we did like forest school, like wood school. We did farm school. I met Payal at the farm school, and her son and Lincoln are the same age, and then her younger son is 1. So Emory's a little bit older, but it's that same 2 boys,
same like, dynamic.
Yeah. The boy mom thing is real. I think it's real. I don't have girls,
also have the similar, you know, like likings or similar activities.
Yeah, so we're in the same place at the same time. Yeah, so it was a very cool meeting, and I almost said it's helpful, but it's something we've talked about before with people of color. Like you're in a space with all mostly white people, and then you like lock eyes with a person of color across the room. I was like, oh, who's that?
I need to be her friend, because I have a feeling that we're just going to understand
exactly
the things that happen that no one sees,
right?
But we know we experience.
Exactly. So it's been a pleasure getting to know her over the last year, mostly through our social media and like interactions online. And so this is actually pretty cool to get some dedicated one-on-one time with her. So welcome, Payal. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just say we started a little bit late, but you are taking the call from your house, and you found, like, I always find it hilarious when our video guests, our remote guests, I don't know what to call them. Yeah. Our guests who call in.
A guest is a guest.
You have to find somewhere to do it, especially because most of my guests are moms, right? Of like 1 or more kids. And if you can't get out of the house, you have to find a place inside the house that it almost is like you disappear because if they know where you are,
Best place
they're
to
gonna
go to.
be
Go in a
right.
closet.
Right.
A lot of clothes, very minimal. How would I say, bouncing of sound and
It's a
stuff. So
good sound
it just
spot.
perfect.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
idea. Anyway, so tell us a little bit about where you are, and then you can fill us in on where you are, like your chosen location in the house to take this call, and then fill us in on your family and your kids.
So right now I'm in our bedroom. I told my husband to tell the kids not to come in here, but he already did, to roll the laundry, and then my son was knocking on the door, "Mommy, I need you," and then the other one's crying, and I'm like,
I love it.
it's almost like I need to tune them out, but
Yeah,
that your mom alerts start going.
I know, but you're
Yeah.
doing okay. So you've been in there a little extra time. Does it feel like a spa? I always feel like I'm on a spa date at
Oh my gosh.
any
Yes.
kind of quiet moment I get.
Yes. Anything. It doesn't even matter what you're doing at that point.
Just a
It's just
little bit of
quiet,
silence.
peace, refill your cup.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
it. Well, thank you for spending some of that time with us. So tell me, so you're local, close by me, but you've got two little boys. Sorry, I don't want to
Yeah.
launch into your story. You tell us your story.
Yes. So yeah, I'm local in Milford. I have two little boys, like you were discussing earlier. One's 4.5, or actually more than that. I don't even 4 and 8 months, or going to be 5 in May.
Uh-huh.
And then the other one just turned is going to be 14 months tomorrow.
Wow. Such a fun
So
age. Is he walking?
he just started walking in the last couple months. So he's like doing that Buddha belly walk, and
Yeah, Herman
so
Monster.
yeah. But he took a long time. He was basically cruising for like the longest time. And he basically is like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. My parents are like, let's make him walk today. I'm like, we're not going to make him walk. When he's ready, he's
Mm-hmm.
ready. That's typical Indian parents. Like, we're
I
going to
l-
make him do this
right,
now.
right. You just will it to
I need to
happen.
be here when it happens. I'm like, but he waited till he was ready. So he doesn't really fall much. He's like, I'm good to go.
Ah, got it.
Yeah. He's a sturdy big boy, though.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And sorry, and I just lost my train of thought because Tommy opened the chicken.
Smells good.
Oh my God.
Said he was going to wait.
I know he did. He did. And it
I
just
told
threw
you,
me off.
food, booze, and cheese. I can't.
Okay. So, and then how long have you been married? You see, I'm trying to pull it together.
We've been married uh 2011. It'll be 8 years in April.
Wow.
Each
Congratulations.
other for a long time before that. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So I asked you to come on tonight because I heard what was crazy is so we do most of our interaction online, and so
Right.
I didn't realize the last time I saw you, you looked fine. I didn't
Yep.
realize you like had a big brace on your leg and you
Yep.
had surgery. So tell us a little bit about what happened and how you've been going through surgery. I mean,
So
post surgery.
it happened May of last year. So the baby was about 5 or 6 months old, and we were celebrating my older son turning 4, and we were trying to figure out what to do. And it was, my brother was there around from Boston, and my parents were around. We were like, oh, why don't we go to the trampoline park?
Ah.
Yeah. So, I have been on trampolines many times in my life, but, obviously it only takes one time for something to happen in certain situations, clearly. So I literally went on it for, maybe 10 seconds, and then my knee just went to the left, my left
Ooh.
knee. And I knew instantly something was wrong, but it wasn't as painful as people said it would be if it was something really bad. So in the moment, I was like, okay, maybe I just sprained something. Maybe just, it's not a big deal. And then when I went and got the news from the doctor, like whatever he was saying, I didn't hear anything he said, because all he said was your ACL needs to be reconstructed, and I just lost it.
Wow.
Like your entire ACL needs to be reconstructed, and blah 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 blah. And I was just like, what?
It was like no bedside manner.
He goes to me, well, at least you don't have cancer or stroke or a heart attack.
Oh my God.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. But dude, that's not what you say to somebody. Like in any given, everybody's situation. I don't know. It was just
Yeah. It felt
so
really matter of fact.
right. So, yeah, it's been very, very, very hard, and um, especially like the moment that you get put on crutches
Mm.
and you're not allowed to, you can't hold anything. Like you can't hold like a cup of water. You can't hold anything. And then, I couldn't hold my baby. Like it was really, really painful
Mm-hmm.
in many ways. And I mean, before the surgery, I didn't really have much pain in my knee. I just was told to be on crutches. So
Oh, you were on crutches before the surgery to
yeah,
like
for a
not
month.
injure it anymore?
Yeah, like keep less weight on it, make
Mm.
sure you don't twist it anymore. And then there's different schools of thought with that. Some people say that's ridiculous. You're supposed to, it doesn't matter. And some people say you have to put crutches on.
Mm.
There's so much information coming at me.
Yeah.
Like that was also overwhelming as well. And then you're trying to get another opinion. You get it. Are you going to the right surgeon and all this stuff? And it's just like your anxiety just keeps going up. And then
And you're only 5 months postpartum.
exactly,
Right? Like, which is not the time for you to be having these big decisions to have to make and these big conversations in your mind.
exactly,
So you're like
yeah.
sleeping and feeding your baby.
So I don't mean to
Which I
get
couldn't.
I don't mean to get personal, but did you make the choice to breastfeed before you found out you had to have surgery? Were you planning on
Um.
breastfeeding? I
Or
guess
were
is
you?
were you?
Oh, so we were doing both
Uh-huh.
at the time, but then I kind of had to stop because I was too stressed and I wasn't producing enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I
So,
would
and
imagine any kind
it
of
just
like
got
pain
worse
meds.
and worse. And I was like, I'm not producing anything. Why am I going to add more stress and just forget it at this point? I mean, that was also really tough.
Mm-hmm.
So
Um,
you go through
yeah,
all this. You go through the injury. You're on crutches for about
yeah,
5 weeks. You said, right, or like a
before
month
surgery. Yeah.
before surgery. Then you have your surgery. How long from the time you started using your crutches till the time you recovered were you able to actually hold your child? I mean, I can only imagine this was devastating.
Very devastating. Like, I would wake up and like drenched in sweat and panic, like three,
Mm.
4 in the morning. Like, even when it first happened, because they're all saying, it takes you many, 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 many months. It takes you a year to recover. I'm not fully recovered. I'm only really like little more than halfway through this process. So, um, and I only recently just started to be able to really hold my baby again, like in the last couple of weeks. I was able
And
to
this is
back in.
even sitting down? Even sitting
So
down, you can't?
I can sit down and hold him now on my lap for now, but I really can't like play with him as much because
Mm.
I have to be careful.
Yeah.
So like it's more like on the floor and I have him move around kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So it's not the same, obviously I'm extremely thankful that I can do that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, versus not being able to do that. But
Like the guy said, you could have cancer. Right? You don't have cancer.
yeah,
Right? Like
yeah.
it's the bright side. The bright
Yeah,
side.
yeah. I mean, that's what I've taken from all this. Like, I really, for the longest, I wish it never happened, all this stuff. And then I finally got into the place where I was like, okay, well, this was meant to happen for whatever reason. And some days I'm like, no, I wish this didn't happen.
Right, right.
Like my son and my husband are dancing. I can't dance with them. Like just
Yeah.
have to sit here, or like they want to go for a walk. Sorry, I can't go for a walk. Like
Mm-hmm.
sorry, you can't do this. Like not until like 2, 3 weeks ago. Like I like for all through November and December, I had a major setback where I couldn't walk down the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
So and it was because I was doing better, and then it went backwards, and it felt like it wasn't going to get better because the physical therapist said, just you're done with physical therapy, just figure it out, go to the gym.
Mm. Mm. That's
I
crazy.
can't run.
Yeah.
I
You
can't
barely
do any real
walk.
physical activity. I was in really bad pain then. It's a lot better now because I'm in a different place that really pays attention.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not able to advocate for yourself, that's the thing about healthcare. It just really gets me. It makes me really mad. Is if you're not able to advocate for yourself and you don't know enough, to advocate for yourself, or you're just listening to whatever anyone tells you. I could have literally been in chronic pain for the rest of my life, or lack of function, or all, if I didn't know to talk to other people or find another physical therapist or.
So what did you do to educate yourself on, first of all, your condition and what options you had? I mean, what steps did you take? Because obviously this has been very traumatic for you.
Yeah.
We're having this conversation and our listeners can't see, but we're able to actually have a face-to-face conversation via video. And I can see how agonizing this has been for you, not being able to actually share with your family the way
live with them the way you
would had you not had this injury.
Right.
And then you, in addition to that, you start thinking about the relationship that you build with your child, with your first child, versus how that's going to affect your relationship with your second child.
Yeah. So, I guess this is a two-part question. Yeah, I mean, it's totally different. Like, there was a period, like with both kids, like, obviously I had so much time with my first child. It's obviously different for everybody once you have your second one, but, like, I felt like I was in an altered state of reality. Like, my son would be there, but I wasn't really there because I was in so much pain and I didn't know what to expect, and I couldn't get up. Baby's crying, like he's crying in his room. I can't get to him. My husband's like exhausted because he's taking care of me and the kids and the dogs. We did have family support, but they can only be here for so long. And he's exhausted, and the baby's crying, and I'm here and crying. I'm crying because I can't get to him. And if you hear me cry now, it's because it's been really hard.
Yeah. No, I can totally imagine. I mean, the first few months of bonding with your kid and just sort of like biology, I still hear phantom crying, right? Like, imagine actual crying. It's constant. Even when they're not crying, you're hearing crying, and it's overwhelming. It's absolutely overwhelming. So you said that you're finally in a place now. Have you been able to find someone to talk to about this stuff? I'm huge on therapy.
Oh my gosh, yes. I have this lady, her name is Mary. She's been a godsend.
Sorry, we're just dropping a little bit.
She spent a lot of time with me on the phone. I was about to go into surgery, and
hold on one second. We're
just surgery going to ruin me. I work in pain management, so I see the worst of the worst.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to roll you back. I hate to do this. So you just cut out for a second. And so you said that you've worked in pain management before, so you recognize. Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello?
No. Yes. Now I can.
Okay. Sorry. There's just a minor technical difficulty. You just froze when you were talking about your therapist.
Oh, okay.
So you said she's a godsend.
Yeah, so I see her weekly, and she just basically gives me advice on basically every week, like what to deal with, specifically with everything that I'm doing, and learning to let things go. Like, the house is going to be a disaster, and when you can finally get to it, you only have to do like 25% of it, and then just leave it there, and then you don't have to get to everything right now. Your most important focus is yourself and being in the moment with your kids. And that's been huge, because even now that I'm better, I'll want to take on like finishing the whole load of laundry or finishing it. And I know that I'm going to pay for it later. So I just do half of it. And that's like helped me so much, because I'm like, okay, I don't need to do all of it. I really don't need to do all of it right now.
Yeah. I mean, so many things we can put down, and we put added pressure on ourselves. So I would love someone to tell me only to do half of it. I might start only doing half of it now. It's like Payal said, I only have to do half of it.
Yeah.
Well, when you're feeling overwhelmed, like, because I mean, it's overwhelming in general being a parent, right? And then like adding on like a million other things that are coming at you. And then like, I mean, having surgery and not being able to walk and not being able to hold your baby, not be able to do anything. It's just, you feel so depressed and stressed, and you have to, what I have learned is those things are going to be there, and you have to really, really focus in the moment with what's happening right in front of you, because we're always thinking like 10 steps ahead, or thinking about what we talked about with somebody yesterday. And it's like, I know it sounds like, cliche and all that, but it's really true.
It's an important
Like, it's really
reminder.
helped me, like, just focus on what I'm doing with my son, like playing a board game. Like, and I'd be like, I can't run with him, and I can't play ball with him, and I can't do this, and I can't do that. And she's like, focus on what you can do, because there's a lot that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been hard because I'm an active person, and I'm a nature person. We really didn't do anything last year, and the year before that, I was sick while I was pregnant. So it was like double dose of, but I've learned all the millions of things you can do inside
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm.
And then just spending time with the baby, like, you don't really have to do much,
No, that you just have to look at them.
Yeah,
The amount of times I hear, "Mommy, watch me. Watch this. Mommy, watch this."
It's
yeah,
true.
That's incredible. So I'm interested to know. So your older son is old, and I mean he's as old as mine. So I know
yeah.
he's old enough, and he's pretty super smart. How have your children sort of adjusted to this new mommy, right? Or to know, like Emery and I have standoffs over me picking him up, right? Because he insists that I pick him up. At
Yeah,
14
yeah,
months, they don't really. Emery can talk. At 14 months, they don't really talk.
right.
Can you identify a couple ways for both of them at their different ages that they have learned to like manage you, like manage having a mom with this capability?
Yeah. I mean, I've noticed that the second, the first, my first one's definitely a mama's boy. Um, and it's been really harder for him. The second one has become like daddy's boy, and so when he like what, because my husband, his dad was always running to him, and so he's used to him running, coming to get him.
Yeah,
And so, like, I'm like, oh, that's what that feels like when maybe he doesn't want to be with
I
you.
know. This is what
Now
I'm
I know what it feels
saying. Yep.
like.
Don't
So,
worry. It happens at any age, right? Like I'm dealing with that right now with Emery, who's 2.5.
yeah,
He doesn't prefer me right now, and it's painful.
yeah. So I didn't really get to bond with him, and he didn't have that physical, as much. So I'm trying to, get that back, and I think he's feeling it more because he's been wanting to connect with me more. I mean, I was only 14 months, but they feel things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the older one, he had such a hard time. Like, why can't you run with me? Why can't you go to the playground with me? Why can't you go outside with me? Why
Mm.
can't you go to the beach with me? And he'd be crying, like literally, like, why can't you do it? And we had to explain why. And it took him a long time because I was always the one who was taking him everywhere. We all go together as a family, but I'm more of a outdoorsy person than my husband is. Um, he likes it when he goes, but he'll complain. But my husband, but but he's gotten. It's amazing how much he's matured about it and learned, how long it may take, and he's looking at the calendar and the months, and
Oh.
because June is like when I'm supposed to be fully recovered, if
Uh-huh.
supposedly.
Right.
And then when my husband was away at work, and he saw me crying because I was in pain and it wasn't getting better, and I couldn't walk down the hallway to get to the baby. And so he's like, "Don't worry, I am here.
Oh my
Daddy's not here, so it's
God.
my job to help you."
I
And
can't
part of
even
me is like,
handle
"Oh
it.
God,
Oh
that's
my
not your
God.
job. That's not your job." Like, then I'm like, it was so sweet. He's just like, "I'm here to take care of you. Daddy said to talk to you and give you a hug and hold you
Oh my
and
God.
make you feel better. And do you need anything? Do you need water? Just rest. Don't worry. It's gonna heal. It's
Oh
gonna
my
get better." And
God.
I'm like, "Oh
Oh
my
my
God."
God. And he's 4. But can you
Yep.
imagine I'm hearing that you didn't know that your husband talked to him before he left. But can you imagine the conversation that your husband had with him, like to be a fly on the wall for that like daddy son conversation
I
about
can't.
how to
It's
take care of
amazing.
mom while I'm gone? It's amazing. It's amazing. So tell us, I'm interested to hear a little bit more about how you and your husband are sort of working through this. I mean, he's clearly, it sounds to me like he's doing a bang up job, right? A great job, not only being there for you himself, but like helping to explain to your 4-year-old how to also be understanding and be there to help you. So tell us a little bit about what that has looked like in the last several months.
I mean, it's definitely been up and down. It's kind of like you're forced into a situation, right? And you have to adapt. And but he really has been amazing. He's had to, do much more than, I need to be put on an ice machine, and he had to bring my medicine and my food and my water and everything,
Mm-hmm.
take care of the kids and cook and clean everything. Like,
Sounds like a
we have
mom.
family that,
Oh, sorry, that fell flat because the screen the screen just froze. She'll come back in a second.
Yeah, we're just waiting.
Yeah, we're just waiting. Hold on, guys. She's coming back. There we
There she
go.
is.
There
hello?
we go. Okay, sorry, we
I don't know
we
if I need to
froze for
move.
a second.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is that a
So, but
Teenage
yeah,
Mutant Ninja Turtle sweatshirt you're wearing?
yeah.
I
I was
can't
gonna
even.
ask her
I can't
earlier, but I'm so
even.
happy.
That's
That makes me very
amazing.
happy. I love the Teenage
It
Mutant
is
Ninja Turtles.
one of our Halloween costumes, and
I
I have to
love
make the
it.
most. I'm making the most of it.
Yes,
My
please
my
do.
son my son is like, it's not October, it's not Halloween. I don't
He's
understand
so
why you're wearing.
practical. He's so practical. I love him. Okay, so you were talking about your husband. Go ahead.
Yeah, there were moments where, he was going to crack himself. He's been really, really great, but after at the end of the day, you have no sleep, and then the baby wakes up, and I'm like opening and closing the Velcro straps of my immobilizer on my leg, and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm having nightmares of this Velcro. You need to stop it. Like, stop it, stop it. I don't want to hear any Velcro ever again in my life." Because it gets so tight and it's so uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and it's just like, and then you can't move your leg, you're not allowed to bend it, and it's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, yeah, but when I had those like panic attacks, like at 3 and 4 in the morning, like, I'm never gonna walk again, I don't know what's gonna happen to me. You don't know, there's so much unknown. So like, you have these fear of the unknown. I don't know how I'm gonna recover. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play with my kids again the way I want to. So I would call my aunt, and my aunt's like almost 80 years old,
Mm-hmm.
but she's a psychiatrist, retired psychiatrist, and she's just amazing. My parents have been really, really, really helpful, but when it comes to talking about stuff, they're like, just get over it. You'll be fine. Just, you have to be strong. You have to be very, very strong. You can do this, which is good for some things, like like if I'm watching.
Studying,
Hard
right?
love works, right?
That's such typical immigrant parent love.
Yeah, the hard love works, but not in situations like this. You know.
Exactly. So my aunt, it was my mom's sister, like, she'll talk me through it, and I didn't expect her to pick up at 4 in the morning multiple times, and I feel really, really bad, but she really did help me from like going berserk and like throwing off my immobilizer and just walking when I shouldn't have
Mm.
been. And she really talked me down and helped me, and she's also been a lifesaver. So like my Mary and my aunt, in that way, you have to have somebody you can talk to when it comes to these kind of things, because it gets really, really scary at times.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to walk back to
Yeah.
that two-part question that I had asked. We talked a little
Yes,
bit
I might
about
have missed something.
Don't forget about my question.
no, because you mentioned your aunt, you mentioned your support
Yeah.
system, but
Yeah.
you also mentioned that the unknown. And
Mm,
so
it's
my
true.
question to you, and for our listeners, if you
Mhm.
find yourself in this situation, how did you go about finding more information on your condition,
Right.
knowing that you needed more information, right? Because you were going to the doctors, you had issues with the healthcare system here. Obviously, they're just, telling you a couple of things, but really you want more. And
Yeah.
what did you do? What steps did you take to get more information?
So, well, I'm a nurse practitioner, so I kind of know too much, which is good and bad. But so I wrote down lots and lots of questions, and when I had more questions, I would call the doctor's office. I got a second opinion. I talked to people who are in the medical field that we know, um, and then they talked to orthopedic doctors that they knew, and called around, and then they talked to me, and I got more information, which is good and bad. But it was scary getting more information sometimes, but it also makes me feel better because then I'm more informed.
Mm-hmm.
So, so I guess asking people that you know, if you have that ability, um, getting other opinions if you need to, um, for me, at least help me. And then when they are want to push you out of the room and say you asked too many questions, you
Ask
say
more.
sorry. Like I have a couple more questions, and they get mad. But what are you going to do? This is my life, and uh, you make another appointment and you come back.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I had to do in order, because like you don't know all the answers, and like how long is this recovery going to take, and what kind of pain medicine am I going to be on, and like I literally had 5 questions, and you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm like, no, no.
Right, right.
So yeah, and then I mean, I guess like having people that know people,
Right.
not always
So like
simple.
tapping into your network.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So that was what I did to get it. It's hard because sometimes you don't know the right questions to ask. And I believe you have to always bring someone with you, especially when you're having anxiety about something, because half the time you don't remember anything that they're saying.
Mm.
So that's huge. My aunt always told me that. She's like, you have to bring someone. And I was like, I don't even know what he's saying at this point because he's saying something to me that's scary.
Mm-hmm.
You could lose this or this could happen and that can happen. I'm like, what? I don't know what you just said. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm a medical professional and I deal with this all the time on the other end, but it's so different when you're the patient.
Right.
So
You just said exactly what I was thinking, that you are in the medical field and it's still overwhelming. So thinking about just your average person who doesn't know anything about the medical field to be faced with this sort of knowledge gap and
yeah,
anxiety around the unknown. So it's a
yeah,
big thing. How do you manage I mean, we talked about you talking to your therapist, but how do you manage people around? Because oftentimes when we
right.
don't know the extent of something, I've heard ACL problems are a real problem, but I don't really
Yes,
know. How do you manage people expecting you to bounce back faster or,
of course, yeah.
do things that you can't really do, or maybe on the worst end of that, assuming that you're overdoing it, right? Like it's not as bad as you are saying it is. How are you managing the people around you?
Um, yeah, I mean,
Or I guess
it
maybe not
gets,
managing the people around you, but how you feel when those kinds of things are coming at you.
yeah,
Those kind of feelings and
yeah,
that kind of intention and that, you
it
know what I
does.
mean? You can
Yeah,
feel it when
I know
someone
what you
doesn't
mean.
believe
Oh
you.
my gosh. So ACL tears in general are a super long recovery
Hmm.
for anybody. And it could be, it's varying stages of pain, and everybody's pain is different. So I have people saying, well, when I said to somebody I knew, it's going to take me about a year. No, it's not. It's going to take you 6 to 8 months. And my friend, he was running and doing all this stuff at 6 months. So what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh my God. Like that's his story. My
Right.
story's different. Everybody's body's different. Like,
That's when I whip out the fly swat.
and I just, yeah, literally like,
Right. You
Wake
just
up.
clench.
and like I've heard that more than one time.
Mm.
And so, and sometimes people say it in a way where they're just trying to give me hope, where it's going to get better.
Hmm.
And most everybody says that you're going to be fine. You're going to forget this. I don't feel that way yet.
Oh my God. That's a crazy thing to say to somebody.
And I mean, in a way, it's good because it does give me hope,
Hmm.
but at the same time it's like if that's all they say to me, then I'm like, you're not really telling me
Yeah.
how much this shit sucks. It sucks so bad.
Hmm.
Like the first 2 months are so terrible and painful, and you have to do these exercises where you have to do them 3 times a day for more than an hour each time,
Hmm.
and you have to manage it in your house somehow, and through the pain you have to do it, because if you don't do it you're not going to get better.
Mm.
So but nobody tells you that.
Yeah.
Like if anyone ever told me they had an ACL tear, that's the first thing I'd tell them. Like it's not going to be easy. You can do this, but it's not going to be easy,
Right.
because you have to give a dose of reality with the hope. And
Hmm.
so because then you're just like oh my God, why am I not getting better?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of different things. I've actually gone, like, I was at Barnes and Noble with my like brace and my crutches, or some, I don't know if it was just the brace. Oh yeah, I went through that. Don't worry, you're gonna be fine. And you see another person with crutches. Oh yeah, I dealt with that. Oh, that sucks, but you're gonna be fine. And
And then they carry on with their
coming
life,
out of the
right?
woodwork.
They
What?
carry on with their life, and they don't know that they just like dropped this bomb, this emotional bomb on you as they walk away.
You know, and but the other thing is too that, you know, typically when we see an ACL tear, an ACL injury, it's
Yeah.
usually athletes, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Some of them may be football players or baseball players, etc.
Yeah.
And these are not the type of people that typically you would associate with having children, and where you have to be
Exactly.
the
Or the
caregiver.
primary caregiver.
Right.
Maybe they have kids, but they're not the primary.
But sometimes, you know, they may not be. They might be you know, what do you call them? A bachelor, right? No kids, no wife, no nothing. They went through it, you know, they were able to focus 100% of their energy on that.
Or they're a famous rich athlete who can afford to get an extra nanny or the extra like help that they need, or the extra health care that they, you know, the really top-notch health care.
So I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that you are a mother of two amazing children. You have a husband that's supporting you 100%. Auntie, you better work. That's all I have to say. And so you have a support system, but nonetheless it's still challenging because it is prohibiting from you from doing all the things that you hoped you would have been able to do and experience with your child or with your children and your family. And so with that dynamic, it's not, you know, no, don't walk up to me and be like, I've been through this before. I know exactly what you're going through. You're going to be okay, because you just don't know what the dynamic in my family is.
Right.
Exactly.
And how much I expect of myself and how much I expect.
Right.
Like I have things that I want to do with my kids, or like wish I could do. Like I wish I could be more active or like interested in being in the woods and like jumping around with them. I wish, and I probably won't, but I'm not in a situation where it absolutely can't happen.
Right.
Right. And that's a different, it's a different way of managing those things that you kind of think you wish that you would do if you could do. Right.
I mean, I'm thinking to myself here that instead of me saying to you, hey, you know, wow, you're going to get through this, is instead of just giving you a pity sympathy, really not knowing exactly what you're going through, because like you said, everyone reacts and goes through different motions of processing what's going on in one situation, is instead of assuming that your pain is her pain or her pain is your pain, ask, what can I do to help?
Yeah, I was just, as you were saying that, I was thinking the same thing. Instead of dropping that on me, why don't you ask me if I need help getting a book from a shelf or something?
Yeah.
Or if I want a coffee. Like, sometimes I feel that way about moms. Like, sometimes you see a mom struggling, like you should, if you have it in you in the moment, you have a free hand, like, there's so many videos of like other moms helping to soothe a baby on the plane, or you know, like a crazy crying baby when the mom just looks flustered. I've even seen them where one of the kids gets away and like another mom is like, hey, you lost one, but I brought him back.
No, because I mean, I could see, for example, where I said, hey, you're an outdoor person. We know that now.
Yeah.
Why don't I just grab a wheelchair and we'll go for a long stroll in a park somewhere, knowing that you can't walk, but you can appreciate nature.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you know, and
what are the things that you wish people would, or some ways that you, sorry, I'm just going to preface this question so that I get it right. Sometimes I have a hard time, in difficult situations, like difficult emotional situations for my friends. I don't know how to help them. And so then I just stay out of their way. Right. And I feel like that's the wrong thing to do. You know what I mean? Oh, she needs time to heal. I'm going to leave her until she's ready. Coming from someone who's on the other side of that, like who could maybe use a hand, what are some of the ways that moms, friends can help a mom through a situation like this that's beyond like 39 casseroles for the freezer?
No, that's definitely a very good question, because and I've been on your end, because sometimes you don't know what to ask or you don't know what to say. So you just don't say anything because you don't know what to say because you don't want to say the wrong thing.
Right.
So I can tell you what people have done that have been helpful. Like, my sister-in-laws have come over like pretty much every Saturday since this happened, even when they were busy, could have been doing something else. And they just came and they just said, I'm going to take care of the kids. You tell me what you need. There's a dishes are here. Do you feel like you need help with it? If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. And I could kind of say yes or no in the moment. Or you want some coffee? I'm going to make you some coffee. And then, just kind of go through the day and not make it like I have to have something or not have to have something. And they would tell me to sit down, don't move. One of them said, I'm going to arrest you if you get up again. And then I had a friend, she's like, I'm going to come over. I'm going to cook you enchiladas. I'm going to bring beer for you guys. And
Can I come over when she makes enchiladas?
That was awesome. What?
I want to come over when she makes enchiladas. Are you
Oh my
kidding
God,
me?
they were so good. My son normally doesn't eat enchiladas, and oh my God. They were great.
I told you, food, booze, and cheese.
I'll have to remember that.
You got me at any one of those combinations.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
So that was my friend Sapna, and so even my son like really remembers how she did come and take care. And then my friend Viviana, she's like, I'm coming over. We'll just figure it out. And so like she just figured it out as she went. Like my son wanted to read, so she helped him sit with him and read, so I didn't have to have that focus. And when I could focus on finishing my therapy that day, because it's hard to manage. Like, when am I going to do the therapy? When am I going to do this? When am I going to do that? So just, saying how can I help? I'm not going to always know the answer, but I think that's huge. You can name a few things that you think may be helpful, and just coming over somebody's house, and then just seeing what they need is really helpful.
Well, I'll tell you
in
one
these
thing.
kind of situations.
Dusting.
Yeah.
You gonna come over and ask me how can I help dust my house?
No,
Nobody ever loves dusting.
This is true because
I love you looking up into the ceiling. You're like, I see the cobweb.
Oh my God.
There's nothing wrong with my legs, and I still have them. So
nobody loves dusting. So if you want to be a really good friend, come over and dust.
Yes.
Grab the Swiffer, the little Swiffer. What do you call that little wand? And dust away.
Dust away.
Like, seriously.
But I think what I'm hearing you say is just to be there, right? Like you can.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I'm always worried that you're overwhelming the person and they need time to themselves. But sometimes you have too much time to yourself, and you could just need a friend there to laugh with you. And maybe we both sit and look at the dishes that are in the sink crazy.
And you start laughing.
And you have to laugh about it, right? They're endorphins that come from laughing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was saying those endorphins are huge. Like just sitting there and being with someone, because you really end up going down this hole where you don't want people to come, or you don't want them to see your house, or you don't want them to see you crying, or you don't want to, but you really need it. Like, and you're thankful once it happens, but you're gonna, in the moment, you'll be like, yeah, I don't really need anybody,
It's a spiral. I remember,
but
it's a spiral.
The laughter that I've had when my friends came over, like, or when I, went to dinner with my friends, like, I was literally like limping, and then I was walking better.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Like it's huge, but when you're suffering, you don't really know how to reach out for help sometimes. So my parents, they were literally staying over in an arrow bed because we don't have an extra bedroom. So yeah.
Do your parents live here?
I live in Milford, and they live in Orange. They live a few minutes away. So they were coming over, but at that point, my husband had to be with me with the ice machine and all this other stuff and pain medicine. So they were watching the kids. So if the baby woke up, or my son was scared for whatever reason, which he's gone through periods of being scared this past year, and he's gotten a lot better. So they've been really great in that way, but they're very tough love kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds
parents.
like something like my mother would be like,
Yeah.
you need to get over that, mijo. Like right now.
Yeah. Stop
Okay?
it crying. Why are you crying? Yeah. I just don't understand this. What is this?
How is this going to help? Tell me, how is this going to help?
It's not.
Right.
And then we would argue, and then I get mad, and I'd be in more pain, and then
Oh my God. Yeah. So when I know that when I'm having a particularly hard day,
yeah,
James and I are like, we have like about a half an hour to watch TV. Let's just find something funny. And if it's not funny in the first second, we have to get to something else because what you're
yeah,
looking for is are those endorphins, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's going to get you.
yeah,
On the other hand, sometimes like I'm listening to you say crying. Sometimes you need the emotional release of a
yes,
good cry. And you know
yes,
how I get that? I watch Grey's Anatomy.
Ah,
Without
yes.
fail, like a full boohoo ugly snot need a tissue
Oh
cry
yeah,
over
definitely.
Shonda. Like Shonda's just ridiculous.
She is.
And I just this week I was like, this is straight soap opera style because he is her dad, is her like is dating his mom and they're kissing, but they didn't know each other. I mean, it's totally a soap opera. It's been on for 15 years. I know exactly what is happening within 5 minutes.
Oh, I was hardcore into Grey's Anatomy for like the first 7 seasons.
Right.
And then when
When Denny died, I didn't.
McDreamy or
Right.
McSteamy? Which one was it?
McSteamy died.
McSteamy died in the plane crash, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she just sort of kind of like lost it there for a moment. And I was just like, all right, I'm done.
It's too much. Yeah. They killed off a bunch of people in with that plane crash. Anyway, I didn't mean to go there, but my intention with that comment was to in all things, right? Everything in moderation and just allowing yourself to feel all of the things, right? And so if someday you need a good hearty cry, like get it out and then maybe you won't have it later. You know, like you feel like you want to cry, but you're all cried out because you watched 4 episodes of Grey's Anatomy. Or if you need to laugh, like find the people, call the people who you know will always be a good time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
Right.
I hear what you're saying and I really believe that I don't know what kind of like emotional therapy or endorphin therapy. I don't know what it is, but all of those emotions are like
Well, I think that
cleansing. I
all of
find
that
them
is
to
part
all
of the
be
therapy.
cleansing.
Yeah.
And it will help to wash away a lot of the fears and the time for fears if you're filling it up with other things.
Plus, also, therapy in general, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental, in a sense, is essential, and they all work together in
Keeps
getting
your mind
you
balanced.
Yeah. Keeping you in a balance and bringing you back to your core, right? And so, some days you're going to be emotional, some days it's going to be just a lot of processing and thinking, and
other days you're going to think you can do everything, right? You're like, oh, I feel good today. Let me clean the whole house, or like, let me make my life plan for the next 5 years when I can walk. I totally know they're all important, and you go through the highs and the lows of it. Payal, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I had some other questions, but I really appreciate the sort of vulnerability and personalness. That's not the word, but sometimes it's easy, or most times it's easier to have these conversations when it's in the distant past, and you are in the thick of it right now, and the emotions are real, and the shit is real right now. And so I really thank you for sharing that with us, because I feel like anybody who's listening who remembers this or is going through it now, like it's really pertinent and really
No, I think that we've touched on a lot of important situations and important things that you're going through that could potentially help someone that may at some point go through the same thing. And first and foremost, I want to wish you a speedy recovery, because I want you out there as soon as possible playing with those amazing children and making sure that they're getting mom 100%. And it's not going to be easy. Again, here we go, right? It's not going to be easy. But work at it at your pace. You're not, it's not a contest. Only when that you're going to feel better, and it's all you can do.
And kids are super resilient. They're so resilient. And for everything that your 2 little ones are like experiencing now, they will be so much more strong and compassionate later. You know what I mean? they just, I mean, kids just bounce back.
And big up to Auntie again. Like
Yeah.
a lot of like kudos to Auntie
Mhm.
'cause she's awesome.
Oh my God.
4
really
o'clock in
is.
the morning. I mean, who are you kidding? You did say she's in her 80s, right?
Right?
They're
She was
always
awake.
They're always up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's
They're
because
probably
you can't call her at 6 because she's asleep.
they're probably up at 4 o'clock in the morning on cup of tea number 2.
Right.
Like seriously.
And they're about to take a nap at 9.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
My
funny.
grandmother's like that. I have to wait till 10 o'clock at night to call her, or else I can't find her.
I'm like, I just never got, like, I went to Puerto Rico once and I stayed at one of my relatives' house, and she's an older woman. She's, I believe, like in her late 80s when I stay there, and I'm like, I wake up and I'm going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and she's just like creeping around the house in the dark, and I'm like, why are you up? She goes like, I'm always up at this time.
Oh my God.
And she's literally creeping. Everyone's sleeping in the house. She's creeping around the house in the dark.
You're like, am I really seeing this?
Yeah.
Is this really happening?
So,
Well, anyway,
Either
you
way.
were doing an amazing job. And if you haven't heard it already today, you were incredible. And I'm so proud of you. And I've totally enjoyed getting to know you so much this year. And I hope that we can get together anytime in the near future, or definitely when you are ready and up and moving around. So thank you again. And and definitely come. I have the whole rest of the list of questions. Come back, because I know you're not your dad. You said it earlier, your husband. You miscalled him.
I think that we have a lot of really good material here for a part 2.
Yes, we should come back a part 2.
Sure, I'd love to.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we will get you on the schedule to come back and have the rest of the conversation. And then we will give you some time to, I think you should enjoy a few more minutes. Make it sound like you're still on the call.
Yeah.
And enjoy a few more minutes of quiet in your room before you let him in.
Get some wine if
feel
you
ya.
can.
I'm going to get it.
Right. All right, Payal. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much to both of you. I really appreciate it. You've been great.
Thank
All
you.
right,
Thank you for
bye.
joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, I would say that, given the situation in which she finds herself in, I think my perception is that she's in good spirits.
Yeah, she's doing great. And even with the ups and the downs, right? It's all a part of being in good spirits, right?
Yep.
You have to come out of it stronger and better. And I was thinking about her specifically. I told you when I made that comment about dealing with things, because lots of moms have injuries. Like, I don't know what they're called, but they have injuries during birthing injuries, or they have like a particularly difficult time recovering from a C-section, or whatever other kinds of things happen around giving birth and that postpartum time. And I think in general, people think of postpartum as 6 weeks, right? Like after 6 weeks,
Have
You're
you met
just
my
like-
mother? My mother's been postpartum for the past 40 years. Like, seriously.
But I mean, this idea that after a month and a half, right, that you would just be able to jump up and get back to regular life, like your vagina isn't hanging out and your whole world is not changed and your whole insides haven't been like debowed, right? Like it's just it's too much, and that's just in postpartum is really a year. Postpartum is like 4 years. Like it's a long time of recovering.
I think it's your whole lifetime. Like, seriously.
It's 40 years. But for anything that's sort of this dramatic, right? For anything dramatic to happen within the first year of postpartum, or in general of being an early parent, an early mom, is just that much more. Like it would have been difficult if she didn't have kids, but 5 months into a new baby, it's like, I mean, no sleep is a form of torture, it's a torture tactic, right? Like it's against the law, like, cause it's torturous.
Not in mommy world today.
It's not. It's just not. They just think it's par for the course. They get to sleep and you don't. So I just thought it was really important to talk with someone who is going through this at this time where you're supposed to at once know everything, do everything, and be recovering from such a physical strain is such an incredibly tough time. And a lot of times, a lot of moms get get in trouble thinking that they should be this should word. I should be able to recover faster. I should be able to do more than I can. I should be able to like push through this because like moms can do anything.
But there's also a component of expectation from your fellow peers, people who you surround yourself with. Like, you know, they don't know what it's like for you to function in your home with a new child. So they're like, oh, she'll be fine.
Yeah, I have very few friends now who don't have kids because I don't have time for that.
I don't understand what her problem is. I'm like, it's, you can walk, right?
Right.
I don't care if it takes you 9 hours, you can still walk. So that means you can do things. And I'm like, no, you don't understand.
Or in this particular case, like you were with your kids all the time. You're homebound because you can't walk and your kids are here, so you're with them all the time. Why are you worried? Like why? Like what's the problem? What do you mean you're not mothering the way you want to?
You know, and a lot of people don't realize that when you get a physical injury, it also manifests emotionally and mentally,
all of the things.
And then not only does it affect you, it affects the people that you are immediately surrounded by, right? Husband has to make sure that, you know, the wife is taken care of. She can't move, then I need to move. And I also need to work. And I also need to take care of the kids. And I also need to cook and feed them, right? Because now I'm responsible to making sure that they're nourished. And so, and then my mental state of mind is AWAR because I can't sleep when she can't sleep when the baby's crying. And so, you know, it's like
nobody sleeps.
A lot of people don't realize the dynamic in itself it's a lot. You know, and I'm not going to pretend to even begin to comprehend how exactly it makes you feel, but just thinking about it just
it's mind-blowing. Yeah. And the other thing I was thinking is for a long-term, like a chronic situation where it's like months of rehab. Yeah. James hurt his back 1 year from shoveling too much, or it was like heavy, wet snow.
Yeah.
And I can do this, and he like broke his back, and that was just 3 days, and I was like, I don't know how we're gonna make it. Right? Like of me trying to carry him up the stairs, of him sleeping sitting up, of like helping him bathe. Like I was like, I don't know. I mean, I know we said forever for sicker, but this is really sick. Like you can't move and you're really heavy. I can't.
Actually, it was really forever for richer for poorer.
Whatever. Healthy and sick or something in there.
In health and in sickness.
There we go.
But we ain't talking about you going out there and doing something you weren't supposed to be doing.
When I told you to sit down, right? Like that's the worst, right? I bet she's had moments.
I told you to get a snowblower.
I was thinking, I bet Payal has had moments where she's like, I didn't even want to go to the trampoline park. You know, like everybody else, I said we shouldn't go. And you can just bombard yourself with all the what ifs and the shoulds and the woulds and the whatevers. And it's just like, you just have to live in the moment, like she said. Yeah. So,
and, you know, anyway, and come to the realization that it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
So, you know, you might get better eventually, but it's going to be hard. And
hard,
people need to be realistic
in
making those assessments.
Yeah. So I'm glad she'll come back because the other thing that I want to talk with her about is like she's Indian and her husband's Jamaican, and we've been having lots of conversations where we sort of talk about blending cultures and how to like how to teach culture. Like, I feel like you really have to teach culture to kids. You can't just assume, because I was like, oh, my kids will know that they're Ghanaian. Nothing around them tells them that they are. Yeah. So they have no idea. And unless I have actual conversations about it with them, they will not know. So I've been enjoying having that conversation with people about how I'm actually getting tips on what to do in my house. So we'll have her come back on and talk a little bit about that, teaching culture. Anyway, that is for another day. Let's keep moving so that we can wrap up nicely with a bow.
Yeah. So, do you have a hashtag Mom So Hard tip of the week?
I do. And relative to, I don't know, I feel like it's related. So I found myself overwhelmed by my medicine cabinet. Related because like she's sick and medicine. Anyway,
gotcha.
So I was overwhelmed by my medicine cabinet because I'd say
just take something that's in there.
Right.
It'll make you feel better. It's like, I'm guaranteed there's got to be something in there that will.
It's all better.
Powerful. Yeah.
No. So what was happening is that James would ask me, oh, where's the Benadryl? And I would say, oh, here. And he's like, I don't see it. And then we'd end up with 6 bottles of Benadryl or like we're looking for something, we thought we had it, but we don't. And we really need it in the moment or whatever. I was just overwhelmed by the medicine cabinet.
Which reminds me, I can't find my Laparoop.
that would never happen in my house.
Vicks. I can't find it. I'm looking for it.
I mean, every single day I use it. There's never.
So,
okay.
Besides the point.
That just triggered me a little bit. Vicks is very important to my life.
Vaporub.
So the tip is to use January. There are still a few more days of January. Use January as a trigger to clean out your medicine cabinet. Go through, especially if you have kids and lots of kids medicine, make sure that everything is up to date and not expired. And you can double check to make sure, like I have 3 bottles of Benadryl. One is almost done, but I keep taking the full one. And so then I'm like hoarding space for this this like 90% empty bottle. Like just do a little house cleaning and then you would not house cleaning. That sounded like shade. I meant house cleaning of the medicine, like a stock. Take stock of your medicine cabinet right now in January so that you don't get stuck with any expired any expired medicine, and you stop wasting. I feel like I waste coins every day that I buy another bottle of Benadryl because we kind of can't find it.
Not only that, I mean, if you're already in that medicine cabinet, take time to look at your first aid kit and see if there's anything that needs to be replenished, or buy a new one, make a list of things that you should keep in that kit. Bandages, all different types. You've got finger bandages, elbow bandages, all
the things.
So, just
order something on Amazon, one of those first aid kits. But really the point is to get rid of. I found a cough medicine that I may or may not have given to my kids that was had mold in the cover, and I didn't know. I thought that's what it was supposed to look like. So just take January. Don't be like me. It's a nice reminder moment. It's the beginning of the year to take stock of your medicine cabinet, particularly for the kids, but also for yourself, to make sure that that there's nothing old in the cabinet and that you order the things that you need so you don't get caught
by surprise.
Because that's how we end up with so many bottles of like NyQuil or Robitussin or whatever. It's like in the moment, I don't know where it is, so I'm just going to buy another one.
Or that's how you end up with opening the medicine cabinet and everything falling on you in the middle of the night while you're trying to find the Vicks Vapor Rub.
The Vicks,
I have a confession. So I'm not a pill popper. I hate popping pills. I hate swallowing pills. Vitamins, I'm literally taking gummy bear vitamins. That's how bad it is. So when I broke my finger, I ended up getting Percocet. And I'm also very paranoid about just throwing mail out with my name on it, knowing that there could be personal information on it. So I discarded my Percocet down the toilet.
Oh, no.
Like 5 years ago. And kept the little bottle because it had all my name, my date of birth, and all that stuff on it. And it's still in my medicine cabinet because I'd been meaning to rip off the label before I throw away the container. Yeah.
Oh, that was the story?
I just need to confess that.
That you have an empty container in your thing because you're paranoid?
Because I'm
paranoid. More concerned about the Percocet in the water supply. Like you're not supposed to dump medicine in the toilet.
I don't know. What am I supposed to do with it? Burn it? Give it back to the doctor?
You're supposed to take it back to the pharmacy so it can be discarded properly.
Yeah. Oh, well. I flushed it down the toilet.
Oh, my God.
Some fish
poor whales.
Somewhere in the sound is probably feeling very lovely now. But I threw those things away like 5 years ago.
Oh, so what you're saying is that you're hoarding
I'm hoarding the container because I haven't gotten to ripping off the label because I don't want my birth date out there. I don't want my information out there. So I don't know. Just make sure that you guys do that too. Don't forget that there's a lot of personal information.
That's
on
a good
labels.
point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
While you're throwing out Robitussin and everything else. So.
Okay, but there's no personal information on Robitussin.
It might be if it was prescription.
No, those over-counter stuff. But I know what you're saying about the prescription.
You know that pink, what do they call that? It's the, oh my God, they give it to you when you're sick.
Antibiotics?
Antibiotics. Sometimes, like the pink bubblegum flavored one they give you for the kids. There's information on there. Just make sure you do your thing.
Clearly, I'm not as worried. I'm like, go ahead and try and steal my identity. Like, where is this going to get you?
Listen.
If you hear a weird voice on Breezy Moms and someone stole my identity. Oh my God. Okay, let's wrap up because we're getting giddy. Yes. So clean out your medicine cabinet. Where was I going with that? Those endorphins have clouded my mind and my vision. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for joining us tonight. Go to all the places and do all the things that you know everyone that will help, right? Go to the what are the things called? The Facebook. Oh my God, I sound like an old lady. Go to the Facebook.
The Facebook or the Twitter.
Go to the Facebook and like the page.
That's right.
And forgive me for any like crazy things that not crazy. I don't know how to use it. Did you see a couple days ago? I tried to use Facebook stories and accidentally posted a picture from when I was pregnant, which started and it said, it's a picture of me pregnant that says only 10 weeks left. And I got so many messages that were like, congratulations. What's going on? I was like, whoa, what happened? I was having a real senior moment with
Hey, listen,
Facebook
it
the other
happens.
day.
It happens. No,
But
yeah,
anyway, go
at
to
the
our
Breezy Moms podcast
yes,
page on
and
Facebook.
share the page and not
Like it.
whatever.
Like
do
and
all
share,
the things
yeah.
that Tom says you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And-
If you love the show, let people know that it's there.
Yes, that is the thing. I need to practice that.
Yeah.
Maybe write it down. That will help me.
Yeah.
I'm just here for the booze and the fun and the time out of my house. So if that sounds good to you and you have your own brews, it's BYOB.
Yeah.
Then join us. Click into the show every week and check out our archives. Thanks again to Payal, and we'll see you next time. Bye. This show is produced by Tom Ortiz at Digital Stream Radio. It's available for download on Podbean. Follow us at Facebook at Breezy Moms Podcast or email us at breezymomspodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, don't stress, just breathe.